Hello guys and girls, and welcome back to another episode of Seb Talks Sports, sponsored by Hoopin and Luton, the place to go to for your favourite new and vintage jerseys and apparel from all things basketball. That intro music and podcast theme was created by All-Pro New York Giants running back, now music creator and friend of the show, David Wilson. Go and check him out on all of his social media platforms at Fourstone Running on Twitter and Instagram, and his music under David E. Wilson across all good music streaming services. He's free for business, so drop him a message if you want some beats for your podcast, adverts, commercial, absolutely anything you need. Before I get into this episode, I just want to say that if you're not already following Seb Talks Sports across all platforms, then please do. You can find me on Facebook, Seb Talks Sports, YouTube, Seb Talks Sports, Twitter at Seb Talks Sports, and Instagram, where I'm primarily active. Again, it's at Seb Talks Sports. Today I've got a fantastic guest, a 3-year NFL veteran wide receiver for the New York Giants, who enjoyed a great career showing off his 4.3 speed in the USA, Canada, and right across Europe when he played in the World League of American Football 2. It's the brilliant Byron Williams. Enjoy. My guest today is an NFL veteran wide receiver for the New York Giants who burned up opposing defensive backs for 3 straight seasons, compiling over 1,100 yards in the process. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome Byron Williams to Seb Talk Sports. Byron, how are you?
All right, thanks. How you doing today?
Very, very good. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
I want to go right back to the beginning to start with. So what are your earliest memories of football, and which NFL team was the first you started rooting for as a kid?
I grew up in Texas, so I grew up being a Dallas Cowboy fan. So I grew up in East Texas, and of course, half of my family lived here in Dallas. And so when I came to college up here in the Metroplex in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I went to a university called University of Texas at Arlington. And from there, I just continued to be a Cowboy fan. And I played wide receiver during the whole course of my career and got drafted out of UTA in the 1983 class, the class of Elway Marino, Eric Dickerson. The class of 83, I got drafted by the Green Bay Packers. Mm-hmm. And Coach Barkstar was the head coach back then. And that's how my NFL career got started.
Yeah, obviously we're going to get into that a little bit more. I'm going to go back to your college days because obviously you had some great times at college as you played college ball for Texas Arlington, like you said, in the late 70s and early 80s, winning the conference in your junior season as one of the team's leading receivers before you went on to the NFL. So how much did you enjoy your time as a Maverick, and how did it specifically prepare you to take your step up to the NFL?
Well, I guess as I grew, I went from 160 to about 185, and it got stronger, and of course my speed was faster. And I ended up being one of the fastest guys, in my class. Yeah. And so being able to run a 4.32, 4.3 all the time, 40s, and I ran a 10-100 meters, and it really built up my confidence on being able to have the confidence to play on the next level and be very competitive while catching footballs.
That's it. And of course, we've got to talk about that draft moment there you just mentioned. So let's go right back to the 27th of April, 1983. It's the NFL draft. You're sat there in the 10th round, and then your phone rings, and it's Tom Miller who asks you to be the latest addition to a Green Bay Packers team to join their wide receiver room featuring Hall of Famer James Lofton and 3-time All-Pro John Jefferson. So how excited were you to receive that call and join one of the most famous franchises in all of football? What did it mean to you and your family?
Well, it meant a lot. At first, I wasn't excited because the Packers had the best 2 great receivers when I came out. But the good thing about going up there, they were very they very supportive and wanted to teach me a lot of things. So what I was able to do is go out there and learn from 2 of the best all-pro receivers at that particular time. And they taught me quite a bit. They taught me how to become a professional and how to, to come in and learn the plays and not make mistakes and build your confidence up. So I learned from those guys. And when I learned from those guys, I was able to have full confidence in knowing that I could play in the National Football League.
Of course. And of course, when you did eventually leave Green Bay, that's when you took the step up because of your time on the Packers and a quick stop in Philadelphia on the Eagles. You then called up by New York GM George Young to join the Giants, where you spent 3 seasons playing 41 games with some of the greatest players, under some of the greatest coaches, and for one of the top franchises in NFL history, of course. So and I'm sure a lot of the Giants fans listening or watching this would love to know, what did the New York Giants organization mean to you?
They mean a lot because that's really what propelled my career. And just being there with Coach Bill Parcells and some of the great coaches that they had on the staff with like Romeo Crennel, Bill Belichick, and some of those great coaches back then, you couldn't be more happy than get your career started. And so my first NFL start, my rookie year, I started against Lester Hayes in the LA Coliseum, and I had 126 yards, scored my first NFL touchdown. And that really just propelled my career and just got me started. And then out of the last 3 or 4 games, I had over 100 yards against the Seattle Seahawks and over 100 yards against the Redskins. So I had my first 3 games, my first four or five games, I had over 100 yards receiving it. And that really just got me going. And then I was excited about, just playing NFL, making plays. And of course, the first year with the Giants was the first losing year. And then after that, we was in the playoffs from that point on. So I got a chance to understand coming from the bottom and continue to be a part of a team of building a success. And eventually, the Giants went on to win some Super Bowls after that. I was part of the building process, early on in my career.
Absolutely. And of course, it wasn't just in the US where you balled out as a wide receiver, because in 91, you made the move up to Saskatchewan across the border and spent a season in the CFL. So how did you find playing football there? And what was your greatest memory from your time on the field in Canada?
Just continue to get a chance to play and participate in helping teams win. And plus, during the process, you get to meet a lot of guys, a lot of football players that you can have long life friends. And, we still communicate to this day. So friends are, just people that play from different universities as well. So you get to see the different skill, talent levels. And, Doug Peterson, the head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, he was one of the quarterbacks that I worked with when I led the World League. Yeah. In 91, 92. So just getting a chance to meet all these different players from all over the world.
I'd love to talk about the World League quickly, because it wasn't just in North America. You played football for your time in the CFL, and then directly after you played for the Orlando Thunder firstly, and then New York/New Jersey Giants in the World League of American Football, which saw you travel to London and Barcelona, as well as play against this Frankfurt Galaxy team, which I'm wearing the jersey of today, courtesy of NBL. Thank you very much.
I scored. I'm the only player to score touchdowns in London, Frankfurt, Germany, and Barcelona, Spain. I had 11 touchdowns in those 10 games in the World League for the Orlando Thunder. So I scored a touchdown in Frankfurt, Germany.
Very, very cool. I'd love to know more about that. So how did you find your time in that league, and what did you make of the different cultures abroad when you went to the UK and Spain?
It was just a lifelong experience. You can't even talk about how exciting it was for me to being able to go and travel and play football in Germany and play football in London. And then of course, and play in Barcelona. We played the year before Barcelona hosted the Olympics, and so they was in the process of changing all the spectrums of the building, certain events and things, getting ready for the Olympics. And I think in '92, so in '91 we was a part of that, and being able to go across the country and play football on different soil was quite an experience in itself. Every team had a guy from Europe on their teams. So I never forget, we had a guy that spoke mostly German, and he was a part of our team. He played tight end, and getting to meet people and see how awesome they are, and just getting the camaraderie of having teammates from all over the place.
Yeah, that's very, very cool to hear. Very cool to hear. And of course, we're seeing more of that in the NFL nowadays, which is cool because the sport is loved across the world. Okay, so throughout your career, you played alongside some unbelievable players. I'm just going to list off a few here, probably jog some memories. Gary Lewis during your time at college, Phil Simms, Lionel Manuel, Mark Haynes, Joe Morris, Leonard Marshall, Eagles head coach Doug Peterson, who you mentioned there, who was QB for the Knights, Carl Banks, who I've interviewed, and then Hall of Famers Harry Carson and Lawrence Taylor. So I'd love to know, what was it in your experience around those guys that set them apart from the rest of the league? And how much did they influence you to raise your game and your skill set?
No doubt. They have great talent. Not only that, they're super guys. Most of those guys you spoke of are leaders, very demanding, very focused, goal-oriented. I learned so much from watching their work, the work skills and the work level that they have, as well as their love for people. Most of those guys go back into the community. They love family. They love giving back. And so that was a part of what I learned from those guys, being able to go back into neighborhoods and doing football camps. A lot of those guys go back into their particular hometowns and schools where they went to school, colleges, and they give back, and they have their schools also honor them with the Hall of Fames and putting their names up in the lights. But when you go and you see them at the Super Bowl every year, and I'd sit down and I talked to Phil Sims about 3 months ago, and just being able to relive some of the memories in practice. How Lawrence Taylor and Harry Carson gave Bill Parcells his nickname of Tuna, things like that. You get to laugh at the memories of the locker room.
Amazing. And of course, those guys are now going back into that sort of coaching leadership role now. And back when you were playing, you had some incredible coaches. So Harold Elliott at college, and then Don Matthews, Galen Hall, Larry Zerline, Mouse Davis, Pat Hodgson, Ron Earhart, and then Hall of Famer Bill Parcells, you just said. But of those guys, and of course any others you would like to mention, who would you say had the greatest influence on your career, and what's the most important piece of advice they ever gave you?
Well, of course, Bill Parcells was I never forget this. I left my playbook in the hotel when I first got to New York. He told me to drive his Mercedes back to the room and get my playbook. And one time I was 5 minutes late from catching the airplane, and he fined me $5,000. He told me not to be late. Don Matthews was a great coach. Coached me up in Canada and coached me in the World League. And they would call him the Mad Doctor. Galen Hall was a master. He used to coach at Florida and coached some magnificent offense, Curran Bells and some superstars. He was a mastermind on the offense. I talked to Pat Hodgson, my receiver coach at the Giants. He wished me Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, him and his wife. They live down, I think, in the Alabama area, somewhere like that. And so I still stay in touch with as many people as possible, because those people not only meant so much in my growth and my maturity as a person, but they are awesome people, and they are part of who you are and help you to develop as a person as well. So those are great people. That all the people that you just mentioned, I can't say nothing negative about any of them. I think it's part of who I am, a part of my love for living, and my part of what I do now is giving back to our society.
Fantastic. Love to hear it. It's great to hear that. Okay, so as a former New York Giant, I'd love to hear what you think about the current state of the franchise. So, of course, we've got QB in Daniel Jones going to his third year, potentially generational running back in Saquon, but he just can't seem to stay healthy. Head coach in Joe Judge, who made the most of a limited roster this year. Defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, who at times was able to scheme up a defense that was more than the sum of its parts. And with the NFC East not exactly the strongest division in the league, what do you see for the future of the franchise, and how do you think Dave Gettleman and even John Mara, the owner, should approach this coming offseason?
Well, the Giants, I think once teams go up there and see what the Giants tradition is all about, Joe Judge has done a great job. I think, like you said, the defense coordinator, and of course, Garrett used to be here in Dallas. They put together a good coaching staff. But I think too, with the COVID hit and not having the preseason game and the development of learning what all these players are. So they had to make so many adjustments during this particular year. And of course, the NFC East division was hit really hard because of the schedule. Their schedule was pretty tough. Yeah. And that's basically why they didn't really have a dominant winning NFC East champion. But each week it was interesting. But I'm so glad that they was able to get through this whole complete season, because at least we got through the season. But, the NFC East is always the division that everybody always look up to, because of the longevity of what the division meant to the National Football League. Yeah. So it's very interesting just to see how it will shape up. And hopefully, teams will get a chance to have training camps, preseason games, and be able to evaluate their players and their teams better than this past year. It's just one of those years that was really hard for everybody, very challenging year for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, especially obviously last off season, given what Joe Judge was able to do without a proper training camp, preseason, like you were saying, is very, very impressive. So
Joe Judge kind of reminded me so much of Bill Parcells and his approach and his coaching style and the way the players respect him. I think once you get in there and identify that process of how your players respond to what you want, what you're looking for, then I think you're gonna get the most out of your players.
Yeah, very well put. Okay, Byron, I'd love to end with some quick fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Okay, favorite takeout food?
I like catfish. So I'm a Texas guy. So I like catfish. I love the cornbread and beans, and of course yams and greens, and so I'm from East Texas. So my dad, we always had a garden, so I like fresh vegetables and things like that.
Very nice. Okay, dogs or cats?
Oh, dogs, of course, dogs.
Yep.
My first dog was a German Shepherd, and
Okay.
I always tell people, guess what the name was? German Shepherd. Everybody say, you name your dog German Shepherd. Everybody was laughing at that. My dog was named German Shepherd. So every time I say, come on, German Shepherd, people are like, what's the name? I said, German Shepherd. So it was one of the funniest things, but that German Shepherd loved me. So that was my dog named German Shepherd.
I love it. That's fantastic. Okay, favorite music artist?
Right now, I'm kind of into gospel, and I like Luther Vandross. I like Christmas music. This time of year, I get melted with just the melodies and the gospel music. But Christmas, just the best time of the season. Everybody's in the frame of mind of love and giving back.
Yeah, nice. Okay, favorite sports movie of all time?
Favorite sports movie of all time is Gail Sells. I love that movie because it was the true love of not only the game, but the true love of teammates. And when an adversity come, the whole team was felt the effect of the love and loving. The Brian song was a great movie.
Yeah. Okay. Did you ever have a welcome to the NFL moment? And if so, who gave it to you?
I had a welcome to the NFL moment in practice in New York with the Giants. I was running a scout play. It was a reverse, and I was running around the end. And next thing you know, Lawrence Taylor knocked me a flip. And I wasn't even. I thought we were just doing simulated plays, right? So they called the play. They said we got to run this play again. I said, oh man, I can run this play again. So they called the play again. So the next time they called it, I turned on the jets, and Lawrence Taylor said, dang, boy, you are really fast. I wasn't about to get hit again by Lawrence Taylor. So that was my true moment of welcome to the NFL.
Brilliant. Love it. Okay, funniest teammate you ever had?
The funniest teammate, man, we had some funny guys. Zeke Mort, the tight end. Our tight end was something unique, but Leonard Marshall he was a mess. He always had something funny to say. Country boy from Louisiana went to LSU. That like a little round doughboy, but could run and could really go through the gaps and things. So Leonard Marshall was really funny guy.
Okay, best locker room prank you ever saw?
It had to be up in Canada. This guy named Albert Brown, we was getting dressed and we were just waiting on him to put on his shoes and stuff. And he kept saying, why y'all looking at me? We said, you are so funny. You look so good. So when he got ready to put on his shoe, they had a rat in his shoe and he just threw it and went so chaotic. It was the funniest moment that I ever could imagine. So it was putting a rat in this defensive back shoe when he was getting dressed up. He always thought he was the coolest dresser. So that was one of the funniest moments.
Oh, that is fantastic. Okay, what was your reaction to your former teammate, Doug Peterson, pulling Jalen Hurts for Nate Sudfeld last Sunday, where an Eagles win would have given your Giants a playoff spot?
I really couldn't believe that happened. I think we always have played the game to win the games, and you still need to see what Jalen want to do in a pressure type situation. So keep him in there. I didn't see the point of him doing it. So I'm just like all the other Giants fans, really, really don't understand it. But they have their reasons for doing things, and that's why he's coaching in the National Football League. But I didn't want to second guess that. But I thought that was we're in it to win games, not to see what evaluate players, especially in a regular season game. I can understand about the preseason game.
Yeah. Okay. Who is your favorite NFL player of all time?
Wow. I met Emmitt Smith. Emmitt is really nice. I got pictures with Emmitt Smith. I met Dak Prescott. Well, one of my favorite players of all time is a guy that I talk to on a regular basis, Ed Too Tall Jones. He just gave me an autograph ball for one of my coach's son for a special moment. I asked Ed Too Tall Jones to meet one of my high school coach, my favorite coach in high school. He was able to come about 10 years ago. And then 2 weeks ago, I got him to sign a ball for me. So Ed Too Tall Jones is really one of my closest friends. He and he called me all the time about things on the NFL players benefit side. So we get to talk about a lot. So I would have to say Ed Too Tall Jones is a special guy.
Awesome. Okay, and finally, now the playoffs have started. Super Wildcard Weekend is happening right now as we're recording. Who's your pick to win Super Bowl 55 in Tampa?
Well, I kind of want to see if Tom Brady can break all the records known to man, and it'll be very interesting for him to be the host and play at Tampa. But right now, Kansas City and the Buffalo Bills are two teams that really playing good football. So and they say defense win championships, but right now it looks like the offensive side is really playing really well in the NFL. But the good thing is that we get good football during this time of the year, and people are excited. They get to wear their paraphernalia and all this, the colors and things. So it can't be no more better for football than NFL right now. So I'm excited about what's going on.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to push you for one name. Come on, give me one team.
One team. It's hard to say Kansas City going to win it back to back. So I'm going to say I wish Drew Brees could win it. Just so he can win another Super Bowl, but it's gonna be so tough. So I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills.
Nice pick, Byron. Thank you so much for your time today. Where can people find you on social media and check out anything you're involved in?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Byron Williams. I got a nonprofit group called the Best Wishes Foundation, and I'm on Facebook and things like that. But just Byron Williams. I'm with the NFL Players Association. I'm on the board. So sometimes you can Google me, things will pop up. And but just thank you for having me today. It's a pleasure to talk to you and much wishes, the best wishes to your success as well, Seb.
Oh, thank you very much. Of course, I'll leave all those links down below so people can get involved with your Best Wishes Foundation and find you on social media. Thank you very much for the kind words, and thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you. Have a great day. I appreciate it. It's nice meeting you.
That was my interview with the brilliant Byron Williams. I loved hearing all about his time on the Giants, as well as in the CFL and WLAF, and I'm sure you all did too. And if anyone's going to give you your welcome to the NFL moment, there's no one better to do it than Lawrence Taylor. Make sure you go and follow Byron on his social media accounts and support the fantastic work he's doing with his non-profit organisation, the Best Wishes Foundation. All the links you need are in the description of this episode. I've got many more great guests coming very soon, so stay tuned right here on Seb Talks Sports. And to take us out as usual, here's another brilliant track by All-Pro New York Giants running back, turned music creator and friend of the show, David Wilson. Catch you soon, guys.